Hello everyone, Daniel Kerr here. So, last time I saw you, see my screencast software cuts off after 15 minutes. So, in the last time I saw you, I was finishing up some drum stuff, showing you some different things. I was about to modulate the pitch, I think, or something. Anyways, I'm gonna move on. This video is gonna be on bass sound design, all right? And it goes for any synth sound design at all, really. This is just a pretty strange technique that I've kind of developed that allows me to get a lot of different hits and stabs and notes and things with and it's with a bit of randomization that allows me to get some unique results and to pick and choose what I need. All right, so if this ends up being helpful to you, share this video with someone. Share my channel. Share facebook.com/SnowMetal. Invite some friends to it. Make sure you like it. Share my soundcloud.com/SnowMetal. Anyway, I'm just trying to build a bigger group of people to try to exchange resources and just build like an educational community along with some great music from all of you and from myself. So here's how I'm going to do this. Since I'm trying to stay within the Ableton Live framework and use only stock plugs and instruments, I'm going to use Operator, and I'll drag that over to this MIDI track here. Okay, over here I have some drums. We're not going to mess with those right now. I'm just going to get this going, and I'll play an F note. Okay, I'm going to go down to F0. Which is very low, all right? And I'm going to just modulate these. These are FM modulators, so we have operator or oscillator D modulates C, which modulates B, which modulates A. That's what this algorithm right here is for, and you can set up different algorithms if you want, but that's how we got it going right now. So basically they're all sine waves, and this is the result, okay? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select this and Control G, which will put it into a group, okay? And then just what I'm going to do there is I'm going to turn on the knobs of the macro. I'm going to turn off the device for now, just so you can see the knobs. Now what this does is this basically sets this instrument rack up as a separate instrument, okay? So if I go to Max for Live, there's a device here called Device Randomizer, and that's in the Max Audio Effects, and I'm going to drag that over, okay? And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the editor here. I'm going to change it from a specific frequency to sync with the BPMs, and I'm going to put it on 1-1. What that does is it basically means that it's going to create a random frequency every bar, okay? Now this guy here, I'm going to change that to sync, but I'm going to turn the depth all the way off, so this is nothing. What this does is this randomizes this, okay? Now over here we have what's called smoothing. Smoothing is at 100%, which means that this is basically a sine waves, okay? But if I turn smoothing all the way down, then that means that it's basically like a sample and hold. It's going to give me random frequencies every bar, okay? So over here I'm going to hit map, and I'm going to choose this instrument rack. Now, as you can see, all macro knobs, all 8 of them, have been changed. And if I hit the play button, every bar, as you can see, they change. Okay, so I'm going to go into Operator. Now, like I said, I'm going to use Operator, but you can use any of your VSTs. You can drop any VSTs in here. You can open up the device, and you can map any of the VST's parameters to the live device, and then you can do the same thing. But what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to right click on some of these parameters, and I'm going to edit them, assign them to the macro knob. So we'll set that to macro 1. Over here I'm going to turn the LFO on, I'll turn it to the filter, and I'll turn the pitch modulation for LFO off. And I'm going to set the timing to sync, all right, so it's always in BPM sync. I'm going to set this to macro 2. I'm going to put the amount, the depth of LFO to macro 3. Let's see, what else? What are some other ones? I'll turn the frequency down a bit so that the filter changes are more drastic. You know what? I will take the filter type, and I'll set that to macro 4. I'll set the spread or the stereo field to macro 5. And let's see, what other things do I like to do? Well, I will set the wave of the LFO, the waveform of the LFO, and I'll set that to a macro as well. In the LFO, I'm going to set destination B to tone, which is anti-aliasing over here. That gives some pretty strange effects. I'm also going to set this to about -10. Actually, let me play a note and see. Nice. -16. Okay, now, first thing I need to do is I'm going to open this up and go down to F0. I'm going to set a note. I'm going to make the length of this 2 bars. And I'm going to open this sucker up to about, and now let's play it and see what it sounds. As you can see, every bar, we're getting some different effects, okay? Next thing I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to go back to my instruments. I'm going to put another operator down here. This one is not going to be affected, and that was just going to, here, let me turn this one off. Just a sub, all right? Sub bass. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? In keeping with the live effects, I'm going to put a saturator on that sub. And give it some drive so it's heavy. All right? Next thing you know, before I even move any further, I'm going to put a limiter on the end here. Now listen. Oh, forgot to turn the other one back on. Okay, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an audio effect here. It's a Control-T to add an audio track. I can hit Control-Shift-T to add a MIDI track. But nonetheless, I'm going to turn this guy off. And I'm going to arm it for record. I'm going to turn on the interface here, and I'm going to make it get audio from that first channel. Okay? And now I'm just going to let it play for a while and record some stuff. What I'm doing now is I'm just getting a variety of waves that I will probably end up throwing into my into a sampler, an Ableton sampler later on in the project that I was working on before, right? I'll also use this wave, I'll render these out, and I'll use this wave as an extra wave in Serum too. I know that's not an Ableton device, but a lot of people use it, and that's a pretty sweet trick that I've learned, and so I'll show that one too. But I'm not going to do that right now. What I'm doing right now is just getting some pieces. Okay, that's a 64 measure wave there, right? And you can see it's full of all kinds of sweet stabs and whatever. I can chop that up and use that in the sampler, right? Not all of these are going to be high quality, right? And I'm not making any promises about the efficacy of or the quality of the stuff I'm showing you right now using operator and whatnot. I mostly just want you to see the possibilities. In fact, before we move any further, let's get outside of Ableton a little bit. I'll get into my plugins. And how about if I grab, oh, I got one. I will grab FM Metal. This guy is amazing. So I got this guy open, and I'm going to open in the configuration here. I'm going to hit the random button just because that gives me most of the parameters that I want to mess with. Turn that off, and I guess I'll take this oscillator shape. Actually, I'm going to have to leave that one alone because that one glitches when it's causes the whole thing to glitch when it's being modulated. But I can map this to macro 8, map this to macro 6, map this to macro whatever. I can map them even on top of the other ones. Green and blue and red, that's just the color of the of the unit. Another thing about FM metal is it is in a different pitch range than these operators. So what I'm going to have to do with the operators, I'm going to have to go -24 and then go to the sub and go -24. And then I'm going to have to go to the notes themselves and Control A for all, and hold Shift and go up 2 octaves. Now listen. Ooh, okay, that's a little loud. Always is. Crazy, right? Okay, in this FM metal, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my audio effects, and I'm going to grab my auto filter, and I'm just going to mess with this until my screencast software runs out, and you can check that out. I'm going to map the type of of filter to one of the macros. I'm going to put the amount to one of the macros. I'm going to change the rate to BPMs and make that on one of the macros. Phase, I'm going to turn down. Actually, you know what? I'm going to turn the phase to one of these as well. And let's listen. Let me turn this down a bit. How about the shape of the wave? How about the frequency? You know what? To make it even better, how about if I take a compressor and I put this sucker on the end of the entire track, right? And how about if I sidechain that to one of my drum tracks over here? I will sidechain it to number 7. Now here I have this guy here is a drum loop that I made for my latest live set. So here, let's listen. Okay, let's listen together. Turn everything down just a tad. How about, while we're playing, I'll go to this operator and mess with the chorus. Okay, when you mess with the chorus pitch of these operators, because they're modulating each other and because the way they're set up is in increments of 4, you'll find that multiples of 4 sound more in tune. For instance, if I make this 11, listen. Not in tune. If I make it 16, well, you still can't hear it. Oh. Okay. Sounds in tune. Let's do one that's more drastic. Let me turn this down to 1. Okay, how about this one here? 16. See, it's no longer in tune. Anyway, multiples of 4, and you'll stay in tune. Okay, so I've rendered out a bunch of these bass stabs, and I put the waves into a free sample set, and you can get that in the description of this video. Also, I have put together a whole bunch of my existing sample sets that are for sale on eBay, and I put them all into one pack for a limited time. It's at $40 to purchase the pack, and it has a gigabyte of material in there, and all of it is selected. It's all high quality. A lot of it was only previously released for other devices, specific hardware devices like Electrab Sampler or Octatrack. Now all of the WAV files have been included, so you can use those in any